Welcome to another Fintal for Equity Release Professionals video. This video deals with the forecasting capabilities of Fintal. We're going to look now at using the equity release forecasting section of Fintal. This is the very important area which will enable you to see the impact of an equity release product on your client's benefits and income. We're starting off with a case where we have a married couple, both in their early 70s, with a state pension of £150 a week and capital of £15,000. For the sake of simplicity, we'll have no other income, no disabilities, and they own their own home. You'll see that we've already done the benefit calculation here, and that they're currently entitled to £95.25 a week guarantee pension credit and council tax reduction for an English local authority of £28.85, giving them a total benefit entitlement of £124.10. They're considering making use of the equity in their home to improve their circumstances. Let's first of all go to the forecast menu, and you'll see that the option we have here is equity release. In our some of our other products, you can look at the forecast for taking different money from pension savings. We click on equity release here, and we're given two options for the projection: capital and income. If you're going to choose to take lump sums of capital, that's what you would choose here. If you're going to choose a regular income withdrawal, you would choose an income addition, and we'll look at both results. Having chosen capital, we move on to the next area. Is there any other household income not being entered previously? Whatever we put in here won't have any effect on the calculation, but it will enable us to provide a figure of the total income from all sources for our client. The typical example here may be disability benefits such as PIP or disability living allowance or attendance allowance, where the amount of them has had no effect on the benefit calculation, so we haven't needed to ask about them, but of course they would affect the amount of total income within the household. Is somebody in an assessed income period? This is increasingly unlikely. No assessed income periods have been awarded for some years, and they will all be abolished within the next few months. But if you come across a case where somebody is in such an assessed income period, then answer yes. If you want to change the default limit for the range that we're looking at, this is where you would answer the yes, and it will then ask you how much you wanted to change the default to. And we're now in the process of carrying out the calculation. This may take a few seconds or even more to carry out, and it will then open up in the browser. This is the capital forecast for the pension-aged couple. At the top of the screen we can see a listing of what current entitlement to benefit and what current capital and income they have. It shows the current pension in receipt, £650. This is monthly. Although the benefit calculation works in weekly figures, as does most of the benefit system, for this forecast we've decided to move to monthly figures, as that's the more common industry standard. The summary shows that current capital is £15,000 and current income is £650 a month. We now have a table which shows at £500 intervals of capital the effect on the benefits that they receive. At this stage, the £15,000 capital they already have is included within the table. So when we reach £15,000, you can see the current effect on their benefit system. As we go down, you'll notice that at the moment, as we go through from 0 to 500 to 1000 and so on, there is no effect at all on the guarantee pension credit and no effect on the council tax reduction, thus leaving the total income being shown in the right-hand column unchanged. As we move down through the table, it continues unchanged until we reach £10,000. The reason for this is that the first £10,000 of capital held by anybody receiving pension credit has no effect at all upon their benefits. It is disregarded completely. Once you go past £10,000, then for every £500 or part, the benefit system assumes that they are receiving £1 a week in additional income, and it uses that within the benefit calculation. So from £10,000 down, you can see here in the guarantee pension credit column that the benefit starts to reduce. We scroll all the way down, keep going, all the way down, and at £63,000 you will notice that a red line appears. This red line is generated by the system when something dramatic happens to the benefit entitlement. And if we look at it closely here, you can see that the benefit entitlement for guarantee pension credit has stopped, and for council tax reduction has also stopped. The reason for that is that the guarantee pension credit has been slowly diminishing as the £1 a week for every £500 or part thereof notional income has come in, and at £63,000 that benefit entitlement has now stopped. The council tax reduction has been remaining at £125.2 a month for the whole of the calculation so far, because it is automatically paid at the maximum amount as long as guarantee pension credit is in payment. Once guarantee pension credit has stopped, then it moves on to a calculated basis, and there is a £16,000 capital cut-off within council tax benefit in this authority, as in most. So the very first question the calculation looks at is there more than £16,000 in capital? Yes, there's £63,000, therefore there is no entitlement to benefit, so it stops completely. And that's why the £841.97 a month total income when you have £62,500 of capital changes to £715.22 when you have £63,000 worth of capital. So a drop of £130 almost a month, caused by what could be an increase of just £1 or two in the amount of capital being held. We should look in this column, in this table as well, at something else which has happened. As we begin looking at the amount of benefit that people are entitled to, they start off with an entitlement to guarantee pension credit and an entitlement to council tax reduction, but no entitlement to savings pension credit. Because they are both over pension age for claiming the old state pension, they still retain an entitlement to savings pension credit. It's just that the calculation doesn't give them anything. But as their capital increases, what happens down near the level of £50,000 is that suddenly they begin to become entitled to savings pension credit. And the reason for that is that savings pension credit is designed to reward people who have made some provision for their retirement by receiving extra income. and the notional income from the capital they're holding counts towards this, so that at £50,000 they now have enough notional income, deemed income it's called for guarantee pension credit purposes, to give them an entitlement to savings pension credit, and that actually will increase, as you see, going up to the maximum figure per month of £65.87, and then it will begin to reduce again after that. And the savings pension credit then finally runs out at £82,000 of capital being held. It's often surprising to people what high levels of capital can be held by couples who still qualify for some benefits. While this table is very useful and precise, it's often better to have a visual view of the benefits effects of taking equity release, and you'll find that at the bottom of the screen. Here is a chart which shows, as capital increases along the bottom, what the effect it has on different sorts of income. The red block at the bottom is the current income, which is state pension. Above it are the three benefits in different colours. Green is guarantee pension credit, blue is savings pension credit, and purple is the council tax reduction. You'll also notice there's a line showing where the current amount of capital being held falls. At the top of the screen you'll see the line is completely flat, showing total income. That's because that's until £10,000 of capital reached, a situation where no effect on the benefits is caused by the amount of capital being taken. Once you pass the £10,000 mark, then the guarantee pension credit begins to be reduced, and the council tax benefit is still paid at the full rate because it's automatically passported by the receipt of guarantee pension credit. You see a small wedge-shaped blue block, which is savings pension credit, gradually increasing and then decreasing, and a sudden cliff edge where council tax reduction stops at the same point as guarantee pension credit is eroded away, and it moves on to a capital test which it fails. That chart is very useful for being able to give an idea not just of what happens when you increase somebody's capital by taking it from an equity release product, but also what happens when that capital is then spent or disposed of. As the capital they hold reduces in value, you can see when entitlement to a benefit begins because of that reduction in capital. Let's look at the same case if they choose to take income from an equity release product instead of capital. We just change the type of projection to income and move on again to the same screens. Because we have income, we need to know whether the additional income will be taxable. Here we'll say yes. And you can have a blended product where you take one lump sum of capital together with regular income. Here we'll say it's a purely income producing scheme that they're looking at. And again the screen will blank while we're moving on to the calculation. This is the table that shows the effect of taking income from an equity release scheme. That can either be as a scheme which actually offers an income, or it can be because they are taking a regular drawdown of capital at the same amount, which is treated by the benefit system as income, not as capital. Irregular amounts and periods of withdrawal will be treated as capital. As we look at the income increasing here in £20 a month steps, we can see the overall result of the income being shown here in the penultimate column, and the amount of gain is shown in the final column. You can click on the additional income gain field and see it in percentage terms if you wish. You will notice that in fact there is no increase in income being shown for the first £300 a month of income being taken out of the product. That is because guarantee pension credit sees this income and then reduces its own calculation penny for penny. So when I take £20 of income from an equity release scheme, it reduces my benefit by £20. There are some little rounding figures showing on the tables which should be disregarded. And that will carry on being the case until we get to a stage where something else can affect it. If we scroll down the table, you'll see that the total amount of income stays constant until £300, and then it begins to increase slowly. The reason for that is the start again of savings pension credit, which, as in the capital table, is there to reward the claimant, in this case, for having made some provision over and above the state pension for their retirement. We keep scrolling down as more and more income comes in. We see at £400, because we said this was taxable, tax beginning to be applied for the first time. It's applied that against the total of the state pension and the withdrawal from the equity release scheme. Keep going down past the £1,200 a month until we reach the chart at the bottom of the screen. This chart is worth looking at in some detail. This is the flat line area, followed by an increase that we looked at in the overview video. But the calculation was for a couple who are over pension age and are therefore entitled to receive guarantee pension credit. If you're dealing with a case where the clients are under pension age but over 55, then you'll see quite a different set of results coming up. Let's first of all amend these couples' ages by choosing Change Family Information and change their dates of birth to 1955, and the same for the partner, so that they're both under pension age. You notice that there are additional questions being asked that are relevant because of that age change. I'm leaving them all at their default of no. And you will notice again that the benefits that have been calculated have now changed quite a lot. We have two options. Under the new benefit scheme, universal credit has been calculated, and if they're still on the old legacy benefits, then job seekers allowance has been calculated. You'll also realise that these amounts are considerably lower than the pension credit amounts that they were getting when they were both over pension age. Now we will look at the effects of taking an equity release scheme on these products. So first of all, we'll look once again at a capital scheme. With a couple who are both under pension age, the situation is very different for the results of an equity release product. Looking here at the capital, you will notice that we're first of all looking at a case where universal credit, the new benefit which is being rolled out, applies. And already you can see towards the bottom of the screen a big block of red, demonstrating that something dramatic is happening here. As we scroll down this table, you'll see that that block there is applying across a range of capital. And it's applying because as the capital being taken out goes over £6,000, as these people are below pension credit age, then the higher tariff income of notional income from capital is applied to them, and that's £1 for every £250 or part thereof, so that the universal credit, as you can see, begins to go down somewhat faster. If we keep scrolling down, you will notice that at £17,000 everything goes to zero. Working age means tested benefits have a £16,000 absolute capital cut-off. If your capital goes over £16,000, you are not entitled to their benefits. And you can see here therefore that at £16,000 there's an entitlement to £416.17 a month in benefit. Once you go over that, that vanishes completely, and that can be seen if we scroll down and down and down to the bottom where you can see the chart. That demonstrates the £6,000 where no effect is had from the capital being withdrawn from the equity release scheme, the much steeper deduction because of the notional income that's made as capital goes over £6,000, and at £16,000 the absolute cliff edge where all entitlement stops. We've mentioned several times the changes to the benefit system. This chart and table applies to people who are receiving universal credit. There will still for several years be many people who are on the old benefit system, so Fintal then produces a second assessment below that one for people who are on the legacy benefits, in this case job seekers allowance or employment and support allowance. And again you will see a very similar pattern here because the same £16,000 applies and the same £6,000 capital disregard applies, where below that sum you will have this very steep deduction in benefits caused by the tariff income, and once you reach £16,000 there will be a zero entitlement. And again a very, very similar chart at the bottom showing that capital cut-off. And now we'll look at what happens if they were to take income. It's worth reminding you at this stage that when we did the amendment of the ages and made them both below state pension age, the programme automatically removed the state pension income that we'd previously entered, but left the capital at £15,000. Looking at income now, again we just click through, leaving everything else unchanged, and wait for that income calculation to be produced. The forecast for this working age couple for an income product demonstrates again, in this particular case, a similar flat line effect to that we saw for the older couple. That will not always be the case for either. It is quite possible for people to become better off from the initial stage of taking income, or even in some cases to actually become slightly worse off at stages during the calculation. But here we see the additional income again increasing, and now universal credit reducing, council tax reduction staying the same, and our additional income gain effectively of nothing until we reach a point, if we go down, where there is, as you can see from the chart, the end to universal credit entitlement, and after that penny for penny reduction stops, then real income begins to rise, offset by the council tax benefit, which tapers away typically at a 20% rate. Once again, there'll be many people who are still on the legacy working age benefits, and Fintal generates another set of calculations for them, and once again for working age benefits the results are often very similar. If we move straight to the chart at the bottom, you will see again a flat line, and that's followed once the, in this case, job seekers allowance stops, by an increase in the real income value. We've talked about the effects of the flat line in the overview and why should you use Fintal video. There is a new complication in the benefits system since the 15th of May 2019, in what are called mixed age couples. These are couples where one person is over pension age and one person is under pension age. For new claims, unlike the previous system where the age of the oldest person determined whether you were qualified for pension age benefits or working age benefits, now it's the age of the younger person. If, though, you were getting a pension age benefit before the 15th of May 2019, even with a younger partner, you will carry on getting it. So the program has to be able to cope with that situation. So I will make an amendment again to this case and make one of the partners over pension age and one under pension age. So let's take the first person and give their date of birth as 1945, but leave their partner as 1955. Again, we answer a couple of extra questions that are relevant because of age changes, one of which is the state pension, so we'll restore that £150 and come through with the calculation. Now, interestingly, here you will see how we've catered for the calculation. The new benefit scheme entitlement is those for people making a claim after the 15th of May, and here therefore as a mixed age couple with a younger partner they would have to claim universal credit, and they're not entitled to receive anything on that basis, although they continue to receive some council tax reduction because of the rules in that particular local authority. If they had already been receiving guarantee pension credit and were claiming before that 15th of May date, then as you'll see here they would have qualified for guarantee pension credit. Let's look at how we now handle the forecasting side of things. So let's go and do a forecast first of all for a capital calculation. while it's calculating, did you notice how much difference there was between the new benefit rule and the old benefit rule in entitlement? If not, scroll back a few seconds and see. And now let's look at an income calculation. For income for a mixed age couple, again we look at two different sets of calculations. The first one where universal credit applies, and again this mixed age couple where the older person has a state pension, we have no entitlement at all to universal credit from the very beginning. We follow that through, and we see the result being an increase in real income for this couple from the equity release income product, offset only by the council tax being gradually tapered away. Where the couple claimed benefit before that cut-off date of May the 19th, 2019, then they still continue to receive guarantee pension credit. And we scroll down, we will see that. And see again that we generate, in this case, this flat line area where there's no real increase in income at all from taking out an equity release product until guarantee pension credit is completely eroded by the income, and then we see that tapering of council tax reduction being what diminishes the real value of the increased income from the equity release product. Remember that if you save a case, later on you can come back and amend it at any time and redo the calculations with all of the data still being held in place, including the information that you've put in for forecasts. Thank you for watching this rather lengthier Fintal for Equity and Release Professionals video. Don't forget to look at the rest of the videos explaining the system.